10 terrifying mummies discovered in Egypt that scared archaeologists. Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today in this video, we will talk about 10 mummy discoveries that scared archaeologists. However, before we start our countdown, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon. So let's get started. If there's one group of people you don't want to mess with, it's the allegedly cursed mummies that have been buried for thousands of years. Throughout history, archaeologists have made some mummy discoveries that even scared them. And here are some of them. Number 10, Lady Ride. One of the creepiest things about mummies is how real they are. They aren't just a piece of art, but a formerly living being. It's almost surreal to see someone who once lived thousands of years ago in a state like that. One of the oldest mummies in ancient Egypt belongs to a woman who is now dubbed Lady Ride. Lady Ride was around 30 to 40 years old when she died in around 1530 BC. She was apparently a nurse maid to an ancient Egyptian queen. What's incredible about this mummy is how her hair is almost perfectly preserved to this day. This hair is thousands of years old, and small parts of it seem like they could have been grown a few months ago. Number 9, Ramses II. Ramses II was one of ancient Egypt's most iconic leaders. He's one of the longest tenured rulers of ancient Egypt, having lived up to 90 years old at a time when you would be lucky to see your 40th birthday. And he is believed to have fathered over 100 children. His mummy was found in 1881 by archaeologists who were shocked at how regal it looked. It almost looked like the mummy would still wield unlimited power as he did during. In 1974, the mummy's condition started deteriorating rapidly, and a decision was made to fly the mummy to Paris for treatment. Number 8, King Tutankhamun. King Tutankhamun, or simply King Tut, was one of Egypt's youngest rulers. Having gained ultimate power at the age of 9, King Tut actually was not that significant compared to other Egyptian rulers when he actually ruled. But when his mummy was discovered in the Valley of the Kings in 1922, it turned him into a household name. His tomb was one of the most extravagant ones archaeologists had ever seen. All sorts of ancient treasures and jewelry were found within him. His funerary mask was incredibly detailed and made of solid gold. And King Tut is probably most famous for actually unleashing the mummy's curse. Opening an ancient Egyptian tomb is thought to lay a curse upon whoever opens it. Number 7, Crocodile Mummy. Crocodiles were a revered animal in ancient Egypt. Signified by their strength and viciousness, the Nile River crocodile is one of the largest crocodile species in the world, as well as one of the deadliest in ancient Egyptians. Even went as far as to mummify these crocodiles. It's believed that these mummies were used to signify the ancient Egyptian deity known as, who was usually depicted with the head of a crocodile. Crocodiles were also considered a symbol of fertility and speed by ancient Egyptians. What's even more amazing is that ancient Egyptians recycled papyrus scraps that they had previously written on to stuff the animals, leading to some never-before-seen ancient texts. Number 6, Gazelle Mummy. One of the best preserved examples of a mummified animal from ancient Egypt is this gazelle from the late period of Egyptian civilization. This gazelle was the pet of an ancient queen, and a loyal one. At that, archaeologists were shocked to see the care with which this gazelle was. It was given the same treatment as one would expect of a mummy belonging to a major king or queen, and was given a royal burial. No different to that of a human ghost, to show the significance that animals had in the ancient Egyptian empire. Number 5, Mud-Covered Mummy. Most ancient Egyptian mummies were covered in a thick resin shell to protect them from the damage of time. However, the Australian researchers were shocked when they found a mummy covered with a thick layer of mud in southern Egypt. Mud was inexpensive, while resin was only available to the super rich. And this particular mummy shows how even Egyptian commoners were inspired by the mummies of the royals. This particular mummy was of a woman in her 20s who was placed in this coffin much later than when she died. Number 4, Infant Mummies. There have been quite a few infants who have received the mummification treatment after their death in ancient Egypt. Most of these children were those of kings and queens who died early due to the various diseases we didn't know how to treat back then. In some cases, even fetuses have been mummed. In 2021, archaeologists even announced the discovery of a pregnant mummy with a child inside of her. This was the first known example of a pregnant mummy ever being found. Number 3, Mummy with tattoos. Tattoos may be a sort of fashion statement in the 21st century, especially in the Western world, but for tribes and religions throughout history, it was a tradition that was quite important. and in some cases, compulsory at the Deir el-Medina site. In Egypt, archaeologists were surprised to find 7 mummified women who had tattoos all over their bodies. Mummy had over 30 tattoos on her body, more than they have ever found on any mummy. It's believed that tattoos held some sort of significance in ancient Egypt, but we don't quite know what. The mummies found in Deir el-Medina were of artisans who worked on various art projects in the region. Number 2. Chinkoromamis. These mummies are some of the most iconic aspects of the ancient Egyptian civilization, but not all mummies come from ancient Egypt. In fact, some of the oldest mummies in the world are the Chinkoromamis, which were found in northern Chile and southern Peru. Now, these mummies weren't nearly as lavishly decorated or well preserved as their Egyptian counterparts, but they date back to 7020 BC, back when there wasn't even an Egyptian civilized. Some of these were naturally mummified, while in later years they were carefully preserved the same way ancient Egyptians were. Some of these mummies included infants, men, women, and pretty much anything you can think of. Number 1. Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut was the 5th pharaoh of the 18th ancient Egyptian dynasty. She is considered one of the most powerful women in history and the most successful female Egyptian monarch, as well as one of Egypt's most prolific. Some have referred to Hatshepsut as the greatest woman in history, but despite her significance, we didn't even know where she was buried until very recently. It was always assumed that Hatshepsut was buried somewhere in the Valley of the Kings near Luxor, and ended at tomb for Hatshep. Sut was actually found in the early 20th century. However, when they opened the coffin, bearing her name along with one bearing her father's name, they both came out empty. A few years later, another tomb named KV60. Inside it was 2 coffins. One contained the remains of mummified geese, and other contained a woman who was named Sitra and Hatshepsut's wet nurse. So this was our today's video. I hope you all liked this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel. And also share it with your friends and family. We will be back soon with a new video. Till then, keep supporting and take care.